All right, hello again, and welcome back to Space Wizard Science Fantasy Year 3. We have a bunch of author interviews coming up. So, this one is for the first book that's going to be released in this year's slate. So, I'll let the author introduce himself.
Hi there. I'm Jonathan Cohen, and I'm the author of Talio's Codex. Really excited to be part of season 3 of Space Wizard Science Fantasy. And I think you've got a lot of great picks coming up from what I've seen on the website.
Yeah, I am really excited about this year. We have a lot of good stuff, a lot of new books coming out, standalones, and I like a lot of people from the markets I go to like standalone books, things like that, which yours is. So tell us a little bit about it, just sort of the elevator pitch or what you like about the book.
Okay, well, it's a secondary world where there's some magic involved. And the main character was a magistrate 10 years ago until he was found in a compromising position with another man. He lost his marriage, he lost his Codex, he lost his career, and now after 10 years, his ex-wife has come back to ask him to defend somebody who is part of a very unusual religious cult. And as he gets involved with that, he gets back into the legal system, starts discovering the major conspiracy that's going on, starts falling in love with the guy that he's defending, and well, there's just a whole bunch of other stuff. So if you're into courtroom drama, legal thrillers, heists, investigations, and lots of back and forth dialogue, banter, that sort of thing, I think you'll enjoy it.
Yeah. And that's really what drew me to this when you sent it to me the first time, because it's it's an interesting it's a fantasy legal thriller almost, which that's sort of what I've been telling people that I've been telling this about, and a lot of people seem really interested in it. It's not something you come across. The closest I could relate is sort of like the Dan Brown ones, which is sort of the sci-fi side, but this is more fantasy side, and it's got a good legal thriller and sort of, as you said, courtroom drama, but also has a nice sort of uh, I'll say cozy, relationship that develops during the book. So was there, and you say that you write cozy fantasy usually. So was that something that fed into your decision to write this book, or had something to do with plotting it or developing it?
Well, actually, one of the things about this book, I went to law school in the early 90s and I was never called to the bar, I never articled, but you always think about school, you always dream about school and whatever.
Yeah.
And when I was thinking cozy fantasy, I was like, what professions haven't been taken? And lawyer was an obvious one. So I would say it's cozy adjacent. One of
Mhm.
the things that people always told me is your stuff's very G-rated. I mean, you'll probably notice there's not a single swear word in the book.
Right.
It's just the way I write. So I specifically went and said, okay, I'm going to add in these scenes that are not 100% cozy,
Right.
some action stuff, some romantic stuff, and whatever. But that was basically it, is sort of going back, thinking about my law school days, and then looking back at legal history and sort of interesting things from way back. I think I mentioned this that we were talking about Hammurabi, who wrote his legal system on an obelisk.
Hmm.
Code of Hammurabi. And of
Yeah.
course, that immediately struck me as like, yes, of course, there would be an obelisk of justice. It would have to be copied onto pages. And then what would happen if? And then I had another thought after that, and another thought after that. I mean, history is wide open, full of stuff that just hasn't been written about yet.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a really interesting perspective. And I love the, like you said, it's sort of cozy relationship in there, but it's also got a much harder side with the the literary side and the courtroom and the sort of world building you have behind there with the legal code, which I'm not a lawyer. I haven't studied that. I came from engineering, but I thought it was really interesting, and it's a good look into sort of the courtroom, and also it's a legal system which is still developing, which I thought was really interesting because there's a couple plot points that won't go into too much, but have to do with developing the system and them coming across things that don't exist yet, and it's things that we have laws for. So I thought that was really interesting. Were those things that you purposely were trying to push towards in the book and showing that this is a developing culture, or what did that mean when you wrote it?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's been 50 years since the great man developed his legal system in the novel. And one of the problems is that everybody's treating it as if it's sacrosanct.
Hmm.
And the other problem is, but now you've got things like religious cults and other things that he just never foresaw.
Yeah.
And so, how do you deal with that? How do you deal with that without sort of breaking down the legal system that you have already? And that's sort of one of the primary tensions of the novel is things as they are written, religion, law, and then the spirit of the law, the spirit of religion, where your heart might take you and how you might have to bend things around to make sure that true justice is done.
Yeah. And I think that's actually a really good sum up to this, that there's a lot of heart in this book, and that's what I really liked about it. And looking at the system and things that might need to change, might need to stay the same, what what needs to be developed. So we're trying to keep all these interviews pretty short, so we're going to wrap up pretty soon. But I think that's a good thing to end on. It's a really lovely book. I encourage you to back this one in the campaign, along with any or all of the other books. You can even get a subscription to get each book as it comes out in ebook or paperback. So definitely look through the campaign when it comes out. We'll be running all through June 1st to 30th, and go ahead and take a look at Talio's Codex and dive into a new fantasy legal thriller, and see if you get that one and take a read. All right, that is it for now. So we will say goodbye, and we'll be there next time. All right,
Bye.
bye bye.